As the film starts, veteran Marine John Stewart is traumatized by memories of his previous war. That night, while heading home, he comes across some thugs harassing a drunk guy who is yelling about an incoming doomsday. John then steps in to stop the guys and he fights them off, but the cops soon appear and arrest him for beating people up while the thugs escape. However, when checking his card, they find out that the guy is a Medal of Honor winner, and they soon set him free to avoid any inconveniences from the media. Later that night, a spaceship driven by Green Lantern, Ganthet, crashes into Earth, and John Stewart just catches sight of it. John then heads towards the ship where he finds Ganthet gasping for breath. Ganthet is happy that he finally found John Stewart, but before he reveals more, he dies and his body burns out, leaving behind the glowing green ring of power. The glowing ring then calls him by name, claiming he has a strong will, and it welcomes him to the Green Lantern Corps. The ring then places itself in his finger and gives him a Green Lantern suit supposed to be his new uniform. John is astonished to be hearing voices from the ring and tries to remove it, but the ring goes on to contact the headquarters in OA, and it assigns him missions to stop a war. The ring then flies him away into space and into the Justice League Watchtower, where he meets some Justice League members, Vixen, Green Arrow, and Martian Manhunter, planning to stop a new threat. However, they treat him as an intruder and attack him, but they soon find out he has the Green Lantern power ring, which is why he didn't set off any alarms while entering. They also learn from the power ring that its previous owner was Hal Jordan, and they realize the guy could really be worthy, since the Guardians never choose an unworthy person. The issue is they haven't been informed of any such choosing since the Guardians have been quiet on them for too long. Therefore, to investigate the matter, Oliver, the Green Arrow, goes with John to check the Guardian shipwreck, and they find the ship repaired itself and now appears as new. They then power up the ship, and John's ring sets coordinates to planet OA. The ship's autopilot then flies them off through space, and on the way they learn from the ring how the Guardians were among the first intelligent life forms in the universe, and they established a police force called the Green Lanterns to keep order in the chaotic worlds of the less evolved life forms. Upon arrival, they find the planet OA in ruins and corpses of Green Lanterns and Guardians laying around, perhaps why they haven't been returning their calls. Inside the Green Lantern Citadel, they are attacked by a warrior from planet Thanagar called Shiera Hall, who thought they were attackers, but they soon come to terms. Shiera shows them a footage of Iranian ship arriving before planet OA was attacked. Her ship was destroyed earlier in battle with the Iranians, and she came to seek help from the Guardians, but she was too late. Shiera vows to revenge, while John and Oliver ask her to first investigate, just to be sure. She also states that planets Thanagar and Ran later agreed to join forces to build the Zeta Beam technology to build both economies, but a scientist called Sardath betrayed them, and the technology transported Thanagar to Ran, which ruined everything, killing many, including Hal Jordan, who tried to help out. John and Oliver decide to investigate the accident by going to the Ranians, and they ask Shiera to join them, and she agrees, but if they threaten or even insult her, they die. During the trip, John learns some of the ring's ability, but it runs out of power, and Oliver teaches him how to recharge it using the battery, and by reciting the Green Lantern Oath. Later, they arrive at the Ranian world, but only to find corpses of Ranian and Thanagarian soldiers. Suddenly, a Zeta beam appears and teleports a Ranian man close to them. Shiera immediately attacks him, but John and Oliver stop their fight. The guy then reveals that the Ranians are actually allied to the Guardians, and he reveals himself to be Adam Strange, a renowned Ranian hero. But Shiera doesn't believe him since Adam Strange has long been presumed dead. He explains that a Zeta beam randomly teleported him away from his planet during the war, and he hopes to soon return to his family. The team then decides to include him in their investigation team, and they head to the Ranian High Command. On the way, they find a battle ongoing, and they contact a Ranian captain that recognizes Adam Strange and gives him information about the war. The captain also reveals that Ran didn't attack OA, but it's too late to explain, since the Ranian scientist Sardath is building a weapon to end the war. From the information given by the Ranian captain, they learn that someone actually impersonated both Ranian and Thanagarian forces and attacked different planets, including OA. They also trace the perpetrator's hiding spot into an asteroid, where they are attacked by a team of Yellow Lanterns and galactic assassins led by former Green Lantern, Sinestro. Sinestro then captures them and takes with him John's Ring of Power. Later, Sinestro reveals that he saw through the Guardian lies and adopted the yellow energy, which is the one thing the Power Ring is useless against. In the prison, they also surprisingly meet with Green Lantern Hal Jordan, who explains that Sinestro sabotaged the Zeta Beam, but he survived, and before getting captured by Sinestro, he released his ring to the Guardians. The team also tells him about Sardath's weapon for destroying planets, but Sinestro was listening in, and he also decides to find the Doomsday weapon. Before he leaves, Hal uses Shiera's nth metal knife to dig through the rocks and deactivates the force field, and they escape. Before leaving, John summons his power ring, and it brings along the other heroes' weapons. They travel to Ron, where they find Sinestro's forces attacking the planet, and Adam Strange contacts the Ranian High Command, and they are allowed entry. There, they try explaining to the scientist Sardath that the Thanagarians were not the actual villains, but he is reluctant to accept their facts, and Sinestro's team finds and attacks them. During the fight, Hal Jordan runs away after the team sees him shooting down a Yellow Lantern, while Sinestro attacks John Stewart, taking his ring, and he throws it away, planning to finish off the last Green Lantern. However, before Sinestro cuts him, John summons his ring back, and it flies through Sinestro's chest and he falls to the ground. Sinestro then claims that his master will kill them all before he breathes his last. The team finally defeats the Yellow Lanterns and they head to find Sardath before he uses the weapons. They also find Hal with Sardath, who is now convinced not to use his weapon, and he hands over the weapon system. However, Hal Jordan shoots down Sardath and betrays his friends, and John Stewart tries to shoot him, but Hal surprisingly survives. John also figures out that Hal wasn't actually Sinestro's prisoner, but his master. Hal admits to this, and he reveals his true intentions were of obtaining great power, and he also unveils the several rings of power he has collected in his endeavors. Hal explains that when Sinestro found him, he infected him with an alien parasite called Parallax to control him, but it gave him a new purpose, which was to become a better Guardian than the Guardians. Together they attacked the Green Lantern Guardians, and Hal stole their rings, and from then on, Sinestro became his assistant after seeing his genius. Hal now plans to wipe clean the universe and create a better one, but the team attacks him. He defeats them and takes away the Zeta Beam weapon, and John follows him. John tries to stop Hal, and Oliver also joins in, and they try to convince Hal to stop his rampage. However, Hal doesn't heed and he attacks them, and John steps in to defend, using more willpower to attack him. Meanwhile, Shiera and Adam Strange find it hard to stop the activated Zeta Beam, and Strange offers to go out and redirect it himself. John Stewart then summons all of his will as he recites the Green Lantern Oath, and he takes away Hal's rings and wears them. However, John can't get himself to kill Hal, and Hal attacks him with a dagger, but Oliver drives an arrow through him and he dies. The party is not over since the Zeta Beam is still activated and heading to destroy the planet Thanagar. Adam Strange then flies out into space to block the beam, using his metagene, and he diverts the Zeta Beam before it could hit Thanagar. The team watch his sacrifice and they honor his bravery, while John Stewart thanks Green Arrow for saving him. The heroes later return to Earth, and now that John plans to rebuild the Green Lantern Corps, he sends out the rings retrieved from Hal Jordan to find new recruits. Shiera then bids them farewell and returns with the ship to her world, Thanagar, to help and protect her people. This leaves behind John and Oliver, who decide to get something to eat and to toast to their absent friends, and maybe a few new ones, and the thrilling film comes to an end. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.